So today, my Atlanta United jersey that I bought a couple of weeks ago have just arrived, and I think with this jersey, that brings me to a total of 5 MLS jersey that I have. Well, technically 6 MLS jersey because if you count the San Jose Earthquakes jersey that I have, that would be 6 teams that I have right now. So I'm moving my way up in terms of trying to get every single team jersey. I believe Portland or Seattle is the next one that I'm going to get. And then it's going to be Minnesota. Although I'm thinking of either getting a Minnesota jersey through eBay or on the MLSsoccer.com, or get it when I go to Minneapolis in August and just get it at Allianz Field. And yes, I'm still thinking about going to Minnesota in August and going to Minneapolis to go see a Minnesota United game at that brand new stadium. And speaking of Minnesota, that is the first team that I'm going to be talking about. And also speaking of Atlanta too, both of the team that I just kind of referenced is going to be playing each other in the first game of the midweek action. There's going to be 5 games in terms of the MLS Matchweek number 14 midweek action. And in the first matchup between Atlanta and Minnesota, Atlanta, their record is 6-2-5, while Minnesota is 6-3-4. And it's quite surprising the fact that both of these teams actually have the same amount of wins. I mean, if you would have told me in the beginning of the season that Atlanta and Minnesota would have the same amount of wins, that would be kind of insane. And Minnesota actually have less loss than Atlanta has, and actually have more points that Atlanta has currently right now. Atlanta, of course, lost 2-1 away to RSL as they dropped their second game in a row, while Minnesota have now won back-to-back 1-0 games as they won 1-0 against Houston at home. In terms of the top assist leader, Villalba currently leads that chart with 3 assists, Gressel with 2, Joseph Martinez with 1, Ezekiel Barco with 1, and Escobar with 1 assist. For Minnesota, Mentanier has 5 assists currently, Gregish has 4 assists, Quintero with 1, Romero Ibarra have 1 assist, but he's not on the team right now. He's currently on loan with Pachuca, and Ethan Finley currently have 1 assist with Minnesota. And, this is kind of an interesting matchup considering the fact that both of these teams tends to struggle in terms of scoring goal, and something tells me this could be a low-scoring kind of game. I mean, for Atlanta, they struggle to score goals because that's been kind of the tactics that they've been using. They've kind of gone with a very defensive kind of approach, and they don't really create a lot of chances like they used to, and that is the reason why they are kind of struggling in terms of scoring goal. Whereas Minnesota case, they're struggling to score a goal isn't because they're not creating chances. They still create chances, but they cannot put away those chances. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this game will play out, and I think it could be a 1-0 or even like a 1-1 game or even a 2-1 game. Otherwise, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game because it's between two teams that, their defense is pretty good, and the fact that they don't score a lot of goals, it means that probably this could be a low-scoring match. But moving on into the next match is Montreal. And speaking of low scoring, that's kind of what Montreal is that they are another team that is not known for scoring goals. But they are playing against RSL. Well, Montreal, of course, lost 4-2 against LAFC away. RSL have now won 3 straight. But keep in mind, RSL in those 3 straight games, I believe all their wins in that 3 straight winning streak is at home. So they have to go on the road to play this game. And we know RSL, this season and also last season tends to really struggle on the road. And I believe they have never beaten Montreal on the road before. I might be wrong on that. If someone can confirm in the comments below that if RSL indeed have never won against Montreal when they're playing at Montreal and playing at Sapporo Stadium. But in terms of the top assist leader for Montreal, Urruti currently leads that chart with 5 assists, Lovitz with 2, Brownie with 1, Beja with 1, and Novello with 1 assist. For RSL, Nick Beasler with 2 assists, Bofo Salcedo with 2 assists, Corey Bear with 2 assists, Rusnak with 2 assists, and Everton Luis with 1 assist. And as I mentioned before, with RSL, this is definitely going to be an interesting one for them considering, we know that they can win games at home, but can they do it on the road? And especially against this Montreal team that has kind of been started to find a little dip in form. They have gone winless in 3 games, and they did take a bit of a hammering against LAFC in the last game. Let's see if they can respond in this game and potentially score goals. And this will be the first time since the beginning of the season or not even the beginning of the season, but this is the first time this season that they're going to have Piatti at home, because Montreal, they didn't even play their first game of the season until late into April of the season. But moving on, in the next match is the Union. So the Union, they play against Colorado, and speaking of team that is kind of found themselves in a little bit of a dip in form, the Union, of course, have now lost back-to-back games, while Colorado, they've won back-to-back games after they start on that historic bad winless run to start the season, winless in 11 games to start the season, but now have won back-to-back games. In terms of the top assist leader for the Union, Wagner currently leads that list with 4, alongside with Mandunian, also have 4 assists. Izinho currently have 3 assists. David Accam, and I actually should have put no longer on the team right next to his name, because David Accam is no longer with the team. He's now with Columbus. Currently have 2 assists. While Montero currently have 2 assists also for the Union. For Colorado, Phil Hubbard currently have 2 assists, and I would have put no longer on the team if I have enough room to put that on the board, but I kind of ran out of room there. Jack Price currently have 2 assists, and so is Kellen Acosta, also currently having 2 assists. Nicholson and Bassett both currently have 1 assist for Colorado. And, for Philly, you would think that this should be a easy game for them, considering the fact that they're playing against Colorado. But Colorado has shown that in these last couple of games that they definitely are not a punching bag, and a team that shouldn't be pretend that it should be a very easy 3 points against them. But having said that, the Union in the last couple of games, it's not like they haven't been playing well in these last 2 games or in these last couple of games, but it's just that they kind of went back to their old kind of form where they just create chances, but they can't finish those chances. So, yeah, that's something that they're going to have to try to figure it out. And also that defense for the Union has been kind of iffy in the last couple of games. But again, they're playing against Colorado. And, I don't know if that win against the Galaxy on the road is just kind of like that one-off thing. I mean, we've seen Colorado won on the road before. I believe last season they actually won a game against was it Seattle or Vancouver I think it was Vancouver that they were able to win on the road. And everybody was freaking out saying that, oh my God, Colorado won a game on the road. Is this the end of the world? Are they going to really go on a run? And it turns out it wasn't the case. They kind of lose a lot or the rest of their road games. So yeah, I mean, it is kind of almost feel like at the end of the world that Colorado all of a sudden have won 2 in a row and also have won a road game. But you would think the Union should be able to win this game. I mean, unless if it's like what I said last time about how, unless if this is MLS and how, if Colorado wins, this is going to be the most MLS thing that will happen. I don't see how the Union can drop points or not get a win in this game. But moving on into the next game is DC. So DC is now back at the top of the Eastern Conference. So Philly, of course, was on top of the Eastern Conference for a while, but DC have overtaken them. And what's interesting is both DC and Philly, both of these teams, even though they're at the top of the Eastern Conference, have not looked good at all recently. DC, their record is 7-4-4, while Chicago, their record is 4-5-5. As I'm going to turn off the lights so you can see the text here. DC, of course, drew 1-1 to New England away, while Chicago also drew 1-1, but they drew to New York City at home. Top assist leader for DC United, Rooney currently leads the list with 4 assists, Moreno with 3 assists, Rodriguez with 2, Giara with 2, and Lucho Acosta currently with 2 assists. As for Chicago, Gaetan currently have 4 assists. I'm not quite sure if Nico Gaetan is going to be back in this game. Przemysław Frankowski with 4 assists, Alexander Katai with 4 assists. Dax McCarty with 3 assists, and CJ Sapon currently have 2 assists for the Chicago Fire. And like I said, with DC, they have definitely not been playing very well, and they have definitely struggled in terms of scoring goal. Although they are playing against a Chicago Fire team that, this season, whenever they go on the road, it's been a struggle. I mean, they've been very good at home, but whenever they go on the road, it seemed like they just kind of drop the ball, and it's either the attack doesn't get going for Chicago, or the fact that the defense just completely drop the ball and give up tons of goals. So, we'll see. We'll see how they can try to battle that when they play this road game against DC. And for DC, they definitely need to take advantage of these games. And so far this season, DC, they started the season well on the road, but they kind of struggle at home. And now recently, it's kind of the opposite. It's kind of like they tend to start doing well again at Audi Field, but they struggle again on the road. But since this is a home game for them, and if we follow that pattern, I think DC is probably going to win this one and get all 3 points in this game. But moving on to the final game of this midweek action is Sporting KC. They are taking on the Galaxy. So Sporting KC, their record is now 3-5-4, while the Galaxy is 8-1-5. Both of these teams actually snapped their long, miserable kind of winless or losing streak in this past weekend, with SKC snapping their 9-game winless run in all competition by winning 3-2 against Seattle at home. While the Galaxy, they snapped their 5-game losing run by beating Orlando City 1-0 away. Top assist leader for SKC, Russell currently leads the list with 3, and then there's a 4-way tie for 2 assists with Espinoza, Croizet, Gerso, and Rowe, all with 2 assists right now. For the Galaxy, it's pretty much the same thing. Palanta currently leads the list with 3 assists, and then there is also a 4-way tie for 2 assists with Pontius, Ibra, Felcher, and Leggett also currently have 2 assists right now. Now, for the Galaxy, they are going to get Zlatan back in this game after he, of course, served that 2-game suspension that Disco, of course, gave him. And it will be interesting to see how he will do with this Galaxy team. Obviously, I think it's going to give the Galaxy much needed boost going forward, because it feels like without Zlatan, this team going forward is just as empty as it gets, and that it just felt like they go on a drought in terms of goal scoring and chance created once Zlatan is no longer with this team. While SKC, hopefully that last win against Seattle is going to give them some momentum and give them some hope. But then again, as I mentioned last week with the Red Bulls, of how they got that emotional, hard-fought win against Atlanta, and how I feel like SKC kind of got the same feeling, where it was a hard-fought, emotional win. It was a very tense kind of match between them and Seattle, and in the end, they were able to get that 3-2 victory. Is there going to be a letdown in this game against the Galaxy? And I think maybe there won't be as much of a letdown as what the Red Bulls would suffer, because the Galaxy is a decent team. I'm not saying Vancouver is not a decent team. In fact, I've been saying Vancouver has been a very decent team, and a team that people should pay attention. But I feel like more teams are going to know that the Galaxy is very decent, and they're one of the best team in the Western Conference. And SKC, knowing that they're in a situation where they got to start winning games to get themselves above the red line and get them where they should belong this season. Like, this team should not be belonging in the bottom of the basement, and I know injury kind of played part of that, but still, this team should not be at the bottom of the basement of the Western Conference, and should be competing for the playoffs and also for MLS Cup this season. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it for all the games that I preview in this MLS Matchweek number 14 midweek action. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these 5 games? Let me know in the comments also below if you can tell me your prediction for all 5 of these games. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.